coming back to the car after a year, I rolled it back and noticed there's a bit of oil on the floor. Need to investigate this. It looks like probably it's a drive shaft seal, but also the engine could be a culprit, so need to get on top of this right now, and that's what this video will be about.
Just taking a quick look under my car, I thought it was the drive shaft seal that's leaking, but it appears I've actually got a fair amount of oil on the bottom of the sump here. Let's wipe that off. So the question is, what is it? Could be this oil drain here. It doesn't seem to be seeping there. I need to do a bit of investigation here. So I think I'm right in what I was saying, is I think it's leaking a bit from this turbo drain into the sump. Sump's taken a couple of whacks, nothing major, just low car I guess. And this has just been spilling down the front here and then just coming across the back. But I also noticed that there's a kind of small weep happening at the sump plug, and then there's another plug at the back here, which is like a hexagon Allen connector there, just to block off, and you can see it's kind of shiny, the oil coming out, so it's not happening from the seal to the sump, it's just happening from these connectors. So what I need to do is I just need to first clean it all off, and I start off with tightening this one because the others don't really look that bad, and just see where I get to. So tightening up the AN fitting with those aluminium spanners, it's fixed that. Doesn't seem like there's any more weeping going on. I think it was just a slow gradual weep that had been going on a while, so I noticed that the connector to the sump needed to be tightened a little bit, and also the AN to the connector needed tightening as well, so I did both those. My next little oil issue is actually on the gearbox. You can see there's a little bit of wetness there. It's not really that bad, but I'm trying to get in position to see what it is. So of course it's oily on the bottom, but then the oil will run down, so you need to search for the highest oily bit where it's coming from, and that looks to be the drive shaft on the left hand side here, passenger side in the UK. And what I need to do is I need to actually pop that drive shaft out, replace the seal, which I've got, and then my problems will probably go away. I've also noticed there's a little bit of what could be a weep, I don't know if it is or not, coming from the actual bung drain at the bottom, but you know, that might not be anything. So first I'm just going to pop out this drive shaft and then replace the seal. I don't think I really need to heavily go through how to take a drive shaft out, but just for you who have not seen my previous videos, basically what you need to do is you need to take out the divot here. So I've just got a drive-through screwdriver, works pretty nicely, and then you can either put the whole car on the deck and remove the centre cap of the wheel. Then you get a 32mm socket and then undo it, or you can rattle gun it off, which is not ideal. That's either way, it's quicker, and take it out that way, and that's where the divot sits in that little recess there. Show you that, and then you can just take the drive shaft out. The only difference is the passenger side here is actually bolted to the back of the block with 3 14mm, I think, so you need to do that, but it's quite straightforward process. The main thing I like to do is to not break any of the joints, so I like to keep it nice and simple, and just undo this inner 14 of the wishbone and the anti-roll bar drop link and the traction bar, and then once I've done that I can basically articulate the whole thing out and take the drive shaft out. So that's what I'm going to do. Just give you a little idea of what I've done. So I've undone the anti-roll bar drop link, I've undone this lower wishbone to suspension fork bolt, and that's important because it means you can pull it towards you and then you can gain access to the traction bar. 217s on top of the traction bar. You can just see them there. Well, they're undone now. That's what they look like, just there. So that's good. I've just started also to undo the 14mm that's there on the lower wishbone on, and I've just got now the 3 holding the support bearing. So now this is the final position, I guess, to take the drive shaft out. Basically we've got the bearing and the 3 bolts on the back of there like this, out. Traction bars obviously out as well. The lower wishbone's out, and the best thing about the thing is I've not had to touch the track rod end. I've not touched the lower ball joint, that's still in there. So basically I've got rid of any issues of splitting drive shafts. Sorry, I've got rid of any issues splitting ball joints, and the drive shaft now is able to come out. You see it's out there, and I just need to yank it out of there. But first I'm going to put a pan underneath just in case any transmission fluid comes out. So that's the drive shaft out. You can see there's a fair amount of fluid coming out there as well. That's okay because I've got some more. At this point it's probably worth going through the parts I've got. So I've got these 2 drive shaft seals, and I'll show which one's which. Then I've got Torco MTF, which is because I've got a M factory limited slip differential in my B series cable transmission. So then coming under here, I've just undone the drain plug, which is here where my finger is, with a 17mm single hex socket. I'm just going to take the rest of the transmission fluid out, because I've got the rest to replace it. I'm going to think about replacing the other drive shaft seal as well. So that's that coming out of there, and I'll just show you the magnetic sump plug. It's got some filings on there. I don't know, it's always going to happen, that's why you've got these plugs. A few misshifts or whatever, I guess, or whatever's floating around the transmission. But yeah, I'll clean that off and put it back in. Okay, you can see I've taken the other drive shaft out, the short one, which is the right hand side or driver side in the UK, out. And now I'm just going to take out these seals. To do that, I have got this. I've got this kind of sickle-looking seal removal tool. I'll put in the description who makes this. I think it's Silverline, but I'll confirm. And what you do is you hook it round, and I'll show you the other seal that I'm also going to do, because it would be impossible to get the angle on this. But you hook it round and you just pull it out. So here we go, I managed to get the angle in there. You can see the seal come in, and I'll use 2 hands and just grab that thing out. That's the seal out there, the left hand side one with a large long drive shaft, and here's the replacement part. And then yeah, I'll take the other seal out next. Now this one should be easier. This is the part number for the new one, going to go on afterwards. And again, I'm just going to put this little sickle looking thing in here, and just look to hoik out the seal. So there we go. There we go. Very nice. That's it. Seal's out. There we go, there's a new seal in. Not the whole way in, and then you just use drive shaft itself just to shunt it in. Now that's in, I'm just going to spray down with some brake clean all the parts I'm going to be refitting, and then I'm going to copy slip everything freshly so it comes apart next time easily. So now those 3 bolts are tight. This is now basically the same as the other side. First of all, got my drive shaft already cleaned and copper slipped it. I'm first going to get it in that hole, obviously through the fork of the suspension strut, and then I'll just put a couple of threads tight on the hub nut. So do that first. Of course the spline in there has been cleaned as well. So that's in there like that, the hub nut on, and then next thing is this 14mm of the inner lower control arm. I'm going to get that in, and the whole time I'm going to be thinking about trying to guide this anti-roll bar drop link in. But before I do that, I'm going to get the bush, here it is, and this is the little washer, I guess you'd call it, and then the little rubber bush. I'm just going to put that on top of there because when that goes in, it'll be harder to get that in afterwards. So I'll just kind of push it in, and it'll sometimes just hold itself in place on the drop link. 14mm for the load control arm inner is there. All that remains me to do now is drop it on the deck, torque these hub nuts, and then once they're torqued, so it'll be around there, this will be around there somewhere, take the wheel off, put this at the top and then punch it down. Do that both sides, so both the hub nuts are torqued, and then obviously you've got to put some transmission fluid in. Now the method it says in the manual is a bit different to what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is take off the VSS speed sensor at the back there, put a funnel in and just fill it up, and then I'm going to remove the fill hole at the side, and then I'm going to put the vehicle flat and then just wait for it to trickle out the fill hole. But it looks like it's going to rain right now, so that's going to have to wait for a bit. I've just torqued the hub nut up when it was on the ground. I'll put the torques back, and then I've raised it back up, and then you have it so the divot's at the top here, and then we use the drive through flathead and just dent the top. So now you can see the top is dented in and the wheel is back on with the nuts. Final job now is just to fill up the gearbox fluid. I'm level, so there we have it. The car's been jacked up at the back. I've got it loose there, and then I can just use a socket, a ratchet like so, and just go in there and just undo that plug. And then I've got the drain underneath. Well, it's going to go out now, but just so when I get to the max fill level, it'll just start pouring out there, and then I can just stop filling. So you can see the VSS has been taken out there, and the thread of this bolt just exposed there. So that's taken out, and that bolt goes through here, and then you just basically pick the whole VSS out like that. And then you can get the funnel and stick it down in there. The funnel I'm going to use for this job is this Draper one. It's not in a bag, so it's not dirty or anything, but just make sure it's not dirty and just stick it in there, fill it up, and then when it starts coming out of that drain, then you stop.
What is it doing?
Glug glug glug, mate. Glug glug glug. Come around here and have a look at it go into the...
I want to look what colour it is.
It's yellow.
I can see through there.
Yeah. You like that? A little bit coming out, and when that's stopped, I'm going to put the plug back in. That's the square peg 3/8. Just twist it in. That's pretty much stopped, so I'll put it in a second. One last thing, I'm going to put a little bit of Honda Bond. There we have it. I've just wiped it clean, just got a little bit of Honda Bond there. I'll just wipe the surface when it goes in.